On War, published posthumously in 1832, stands as the world's first truly modern, systematic treatise on the nature of warfare. Its architect, the legendary Prussian Major General Karl von Clausewitz, gifted military history its most immortal axiom.
War is a mere continuation of policy by other means.
Although ancient thinkers from east to west had long understood the principle that the sword serves the state's political interests, it was Clausewitz who forged this relationship into the bedrock of modern strategic thought. There is only one problem. He was dead wrong. Etymologically, politics traces back to the Greek polis, the city-state. But look past the grand architecture of governance, and you find a heavily institutionalized game of survival, a struggle over rights, decisions, and above all, economic dominance. The legendary American social scientist Harold Lasswell stripped away the philosophy to define politics in its rawest form.
Who gets what, when, how?
Hans Morgenthau, the father of modern classical realism, took it a step further, arguing that politics is an endless cage match for power, where every actor seeks to maximize their control over resources. Strip away economics, and politics vanishes. Politics is just the civilized mask that money wears. When that peaceful camouflage fails, the mask comes off and war begins. Therefore, war is not the continuation of politics. It is the ultimate showdown for economic supremacy. As we already know, the state is built through violence. Today, we begin with the power struggles among the merchant republics of the medieval Mediterranean to uncover the secret of how capital drives state warfare. Enter Rustichello da Pisa, a 13th century scribe in Pisa. To literary history, he is remembered as the master storyteller who penned The Romance of King Arthur, the very first Arthurian romance ever produced by an Italian hand. In the medieval Mediterranean, four powerful maritime factions ruled the waves: the Republic of Pisa, the Duchy of Amalfi, the Republic of Genoa, and the Republic of Venice. These were not just nations, they were merchant republics, Wall Street with a navy. They constantly clashed through political maneuvering and the formation of alliances, fought a perpetual shifting gang war for one prize: the absolute monopoly of Mediterranean trade. The blood feud between Genoa and Pisa ignited in 1060 over the waters of Sardinia. Genoa struck hard in 1066 and again in 1070, but Pisa broke both assaults. When Pisa seized the strategic prize of Corsica, they pulled off a diplomatic masterstroke. They convinced the Pope to hand them holy jurisdiction over the island. Genoa was furious. The result was the Corsican War of 1119, a brutal, decade-long meat grinder. When Pope Innocent II finally forced a peace treaty in 1133, the map was carved in half. Genoa took the northern three dioceses. Pisa kept the southern three. But do not be fooled by the holy terminology. In the medieval world, ecclesiastical jurisdiction meant two things: the power to tax and the power to rule. Whoever controlled the altars controlled the cash flow. Peace was a lie. It was merely a gasping breath between slaughters. On the waves, the bleeding never stopped. In 1282, the Pisan war fleet slammed the shackles of a blockade right onto Genoa's home waters. Then came the ultimate psychological execution. To defile Genoa's pride, Pisan arbalests lined the decks, loading their heavy crossbows not with iron, but with exquisite, shimmering silver bolts. They unleashed them in roaring volleys, embedding precious metal straight into Genoa's stone walls and splintering docks. It was a visual scream.
Pisa has enough wealth to use silver as ammunition. You are no match for us.
It wasn't just a taunt, it was a psychological arson. Genoa's pride didn't just break, it detonated. The Republic demanded a war of absolute extinction to rip Pisan hegemony from the history books. Rage always ignites a firestorm, but wildfire cares nothing for who struck the match. It burns the enemy, or it consumes the host. So, as the Genoese fury erupted, where would the ashes finally fall? In August 1282, the Genoese admiral Benedetto Zaccaria laid his trap. He ordered just a handful of war galleys to ambush passing Pisan merchant ships at the mouth of the Arno River. It was a calculated insult, a bait. The Pisans swallowed it whole. Blended by arrogance, they believed their massive navy could crush this meager enemy in a single blow. In preparation for a battle to the death, both sides undertook extensive military mobilization. Pisa conscripted soldiers throughout the region of Tuscany. Genoa embarked on a frenzied arms race focused on shipbuilding, constructing a total of 120 galleys before the decisive battle. 2 years the trap matured. Then came August 6, 1284. Before the Armada deployed, Ruggeri degli Ubaldini, the Archbishop of Pisa, stood at the bow of the flagship for the grand blessing. He raised his heavy, gleaming crozier, the supreme symbol of divine authority, high into the heavens. Then, a sickening snap. The silver crucifix broke from the staff, cartwheeling through the air before plunging into the dark, silent waves. In the terrifyingly superstitious world of the 13th century, this was not an accident. It was the wrath of God. Panic, cold and sudden, rippled through the ranks of Pisan soldiers. But the fanatical Pisan aristocrats refused to bow to a sign. To mask their fear, they spat in the face of the omen. They bellowed a boast that would echo through history as an immortal curse.
If we have the wind, we can do without divine help.
With that final blasphemous cry, the Podestà Alberto Morosini ordered the drums to roll. The Pisan fleet charged out of the harbor, sailing straight into the teeth of fate. Genoese Admiral Zaccaria of Genoa feigned defeat and lured the arrogant Pisans into the deep and treacherous waters off the Meloria reefs. Then, at the horizon where sky met sea, the sturdy oak hulls of the Genoese warships appeared as if from nowhere. The Pisans sensed the ambush, but did not flinch. After all, with roughly 60 galleys on each side, the two forces were evenly matched. Driven by blind hubris, the Pisan fleet roared, charging straight into a brutal, head-on meat grinder. Wooden hulls splintered, iron clashed. The sea began to churn with foam and blood. Hiding just beyond the smoke of the front line lay Zaccaria's true masterstroke, a secret armada of 30 elite war galleys. They sat dead silent in the water, cloaked entirely under heavy sheets and canvas sails. To the Pisan lookouts, they were invisible, a shadow on the water. A phantom fleet waiting for the perfect moment to slit Pisa's throat. Exhaustion had turned the sea into mud. Lungs burned, muscles tore. In a desperate gambit for total victory, Pisa threw everything into the meat grinder, including the Pisa Reserve fleet that had arrived later, bringing the total number of warships to as many as 72. This wasn't just an army. It was an entire civilization afloat. The nobility, the politicians, the merchant princes, the entire elite of Pisa stood on those decks. They bet the birthright of their republic on a single, reckless charge. They left themselves no safety net. And that was their death warrant. Just as the Genoese front line began to fracture, the Phantom Fleet struck. The 30 hidden galleys ripped away their sails and sheets, emerging from the smoke like a steel blade driven straight into Pisa's exposed flank. The collapse was instantaneous. Meloria became a butchery. The water turned crimson. Count Ugolino della Gherardesca, the deputy commander of Pisa fleet and commander of a squadron, seeing the doom of his nation, abandoned the fight, raised the signal of surrender, and fled the battlefield in haste with just 20 splintered galleys. Behind him, the metrics of annihilation were staggering. 5,000 Pisans slaughtered, over 10,000 dragged away in chains. The defeat was so total that a grim proverb echoed across Italy.
If you want to see Pisa, go to the prisons of Genoa.
In the brutal arena of history, wolves devour the wounded. Smelling blood, the rival republics of Florence and Lucca lunged at Pisa's borders. The empire was broken. Its spine snapped. Within 2 years, Genoa choked off its crown jewel, Porto Pisano. Pisa's golden age as a maritime superpower evaporated into the Mediterranean air. In 1406, Florence arrived to finish the job, swallowing the remnants of Pisa whole. Victory inflates the victor and pushes them toward the abyss of ruin. Genoa believed it had reached the pinnacle of Mediterranean hegemony, but another commercial empire lay lurking in the shadows, waiting. As long as capital continues to chase exorbitant profits, the struggle for supremacy will never end. The only constants are the graves of the defeated and the gold that glitters amidst the bloodshed. I appreciate your patience in listening. If possible, please share this with your friends. Feel free to discuss any thoughts in the comments section so that through the spark of ideas from like-minded friends, we may continue to recount the struggle for capital hegemony.
Pakistan!